karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Verse number 6 in the first chapter of the Shvetashvatara. Sarva jive sarva samsthe brihante.
Sarva jive sarva samsthe.
What? Sarva jive sarva samsthe brihante.
Sarva jive sarva samsthe brihante.
Asmin hamso brahmyate brahmachakre.
Asmin hamso brahmyate brahmachakre.
Prithagatmanam preritarancha matva.
Prithagatmanam preritarancha matva.
Jushtastatastena.
Jushtastatastena.
Amritatvameti.
Amritatvameti.
Yeah, so this is a very important verse, and in the tradition, the most important verses are also the ones that are the most misconstrued, the most debated over, the most confusing. And we are going to look at some of the ways in which this verse lends itself to opposite views, so to speak. Here, if we look at this, we have seen this last time, that which is the home of all the jivas, meaning not that the jivas reside in it, it's not a repository where the jivas are, it's like a holding cell for the jivas. Why? Because the jiva is not separate from that which is holding it, correct? So a better explanation or an interpretation is to see that which is the truth of all the jivas. The holding means that which is the truth of all the jivas, because when you say the body is I, the isness of the body shifts to something else as you see the body decline, and then you say the mind and when you say mind is, that is also shifts and everything keeps shifting. The is that doesn't shift is called Satyam, and that Satyam alone is this Atma, is the true meaning of the word I. So who is this Jiva? The Jiva is Atma plus ignorance. That's all it is. Yeah. Who is Ishvara? Atma, that is without ignorance. Ishvara. Atma with ignorance, Jiva. Atma without ignorance, Ishvara. Like calf and decaf. That's So the only separating factor between Jiva and Ishvara is what? Ignorance. What kind of ignorance? Self-ignorance. What other kind is there really? Self-ignorance is the only separating factor. And if self-ignorance is the only separating factor, then it's just only one thing. So then it doesn't matter, right? But it creates havoc. So therefore it matters. And even though ignorance comes under mithya, it is not sat. Sat means that which is non-negatable. And the only non-negatable thing is that I, self-aware I, that which is aware of everything and aware of itself, which is Ishvara, which is Atma, same thing. And that non-negatable I alone is. And so the ignorance is also what? Comes and goes. Actually we don't say it comes, it goes. Because it has no beginning, but it has an end. Why not say it has a beginning? Okay, so if we say it has a beginning, then we'll be in a very interesting dilemma. If we say ignorance started at 2000 BC, just pick a date, okay, doesn't matter. And then what will happen? Then the Vedantin will ask the question, what was there before ignorance? Let's say, okay, it started in 2000 BC. So, before ignorance, in 3000 BC, what was there? You are constrained to say knowledge. So, if ignorance replaces knowledge, it's not a very nice thing, correct? Yeah. Because what is the guarantee that now that it is going and now that the knowledge will come, that knowledge will again be replaced by ignorance? This doesn't happen. Supposing you already, if you know, like this is what? Orange or tangerine, whatever. This is an orange. And supposing somebody, like a small child, doesn't know, and you teach this is orange, so the orange ignorance is gone. And when the orange ignorance is gone, what happens? It doesn't come back. It doesn't come back. But what if you have dementia? What supposing you have dementia? You learned that this was an orange at 5. At 95, the person had dementia and wiped out everything in the mind, and they showed this to this old person who's lost, all memory has been washed away. And they say, I don't know what this is. So what do you mean the knowledge doesn't go away? The knowledge has gone away in this case. Yes, it has gone away because it's the knowledge of object. The knowledge of subject can never go away because the subject is indestructible. So the self-knowledge also being one and the same as the subject, there cannot go away. Then what happens if the person of knowledge, the jnani, has dementia? What happens? The answer is nothing. The mind is needed to express the knowledge. The knowledge takes place in the mind but not by the mind. But if the jnani has dementia, they still at some level know I am Brahman, I am Atma, but they are not able to express that. They may still say, who are you, and what are you doing here? But that doesn't mean that knowledge goes away. Just the mode of expressing that knowledge, they may not be able to teach. You must not ask a jnani with dementia to teach because they would have forgotten all the methodology, right? Yeah. But they are still free. This is the beauty of this, So that is why you cannot think of, this is one of the, I'll point out a few mistakes, the mistaken ways of interpreting this verse so that our knowledge becomes much more dhrida, certain. So this was one of the mistakes, thinking that all the jivas are in this holding cell called Brahman. The way it is written, this is what the interpretation could be. All these jivas are in this holding cell and that cell is Brahman, and so where is the non-duality? There is a holder and the held. That's already a duality, correct? Yeah, so that is not a correct thing. So sarva jive means that which is the very breath, which is the very being of the jiva, which is that which gives the jiva its being. And sarva samsthe, again, it's not that everything is, put in it just like you put a whole lot of rocks or, in a big hole or pebbles in a pot. It's not the same kind of holding, things like that. It is more in the sense of the truth of everything that moves and doesn't move, the truth of the jiva also. And then in this huge universe, the swan moves. And we've already seen the metaphor of the swan, very beautiful. And the swan moves. How? Who is the swan? The lost jiva. Yeah. Not lost and found, just lost. Yeah. The finding is happening as we study this. So lost jiva doesn't know who I am. So moves around thinking that one is going somewhere, but there is no going. Why? Because that movement is, the jiva is not moving, the swan is not moving, the revolving cage of notions is moving, causing all kinds of myths and illusions that one is, that one is free. Why? Because I can go to a concert. I'm free. Why? Because One can go to, places, get on the plane and go. You are flying high, literally. One is free. Why? Because one can get married. And then after that what? One is not free. So, like this, there is a lot of, illusions, and each of those notions that in order to be free, I have to do something or the other becomes a bar on that revolving cage. And the cage keeps going, and the swan, keeps, is kept in a kind of a status quo, kind of a, place holding, thing, so that it doesn't act on its own behalf. It is lulled into a state of complacency. And so all the preparation here, and the reason why it's called a swan, not just the revolving cage, that was one reason. The second reason is because it's a very sattvic animal. You remember the hoovering of the milk, the sifting of the milk from the water. So that sattvic, that godly characteristic. And why is it godly? Because it is something wonderful to have the discrimination. What is it that I really want? Not everybody has it. Because one keeps going around in circles, kind of lost. And one keeps employing the wrong ends, not knowing what one really wants. And so therefore, it's a great blessing to know that whatever I'm doing in my life is not going to give me this freedom that I really seek, which is my own self, which is my own nature. It is not other than me, it is myself alone. And so if I don't know that, I have to know that. It's very simple. So the doing is actually my undoing. I have to focus on the knowledge. This is what in the Gita is called Purushartha Nishchaya. A mouthful, but simply put, it means ascertaining what one really wants in life. And so here, the swan is all set for that ascertainment because it has that sifting power. But still it is not using that sifting power. One has viveka, but one shuts down that viveka. Shut down the flap of viveka and then go about as usual. So there is a certain kind of and this we have seen, in so many people. They come and say, I know exactly what I want, but I'm not able to take the steps to gain, to do what it takes. Or sometimes, even if they, vaguely know what they want, it's such that small voice of something is wrong with the ways in which you are going about gaining the means and ends is quickly stifled. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You just put a pillow over it because it's it's like a baby voice. You just stifle it and then you just hope that it doesn't cry again. And there are so many ways in the world to go about and get distracted. From movies to malls. Yeah. How do you spell malls?
M-A-U-L.
Yes, M-A-U-L-S, malls. Malls one of one's sanity, that's all it is. And so, therefore, the whole thing is just a kind of that's why Brahmyate means is lost. So all the preparation in terms of gaining all the viveka, the vairagya, shama, dhamma, uparati, titiksha, shraddha, all these are the qualifications we have seen in detail. We may have forgotten, but we have certainly addressed them. So we have a vague idea of what they might be. And so even without going into them, we kind of know what they are. And we also know what is it that we don't have and what is it that doesn't come even if we want it to come. We know all that, So therefore this, the swan is a very interesting metaphor because it signifies one that is so poised for this knowledge. The human sharira, the human body is poised for this knowledge. And what is it doing? Nada, nothing. Zero. It is made for this knowledge. It's not doing anything, even though it has that discriminating power, it is graceful, it is whatever it, and also the last meaning of that Hamsa is, it is the same as Bhagavan. It is one and the same in it. Yeah, so Hamsa, Hamsaha. That's what it is. It is I am, he alone I am, she alone I am, that which is the same as the mother and the father of the universe. That one thing alone I am, it knows. And if it it is poised to know that by the name and by everything. It already is that. It just has to know that. But if it doesn't know that, it becomes an endless Brahmachakra, a wheel of the cycles of delusion, illusion, And therefore, and then that is, that is the first line. The second line is also rife with wrong meanings. So, Prithag Atmanam means thinking matva. Prithagatmanam matva. Thinking oneself to be separate from what? Preritaram, from Ishvara, from the that moving force which is Ishvara, that moves everything. Here this is rife with wrong meanings because it says seeing oneself as different from Bhagavan, one is blessed. This is some people's interpretation. Because of the way Prithagatmanam matva jushtaha tataha tena amritam. So then if you look at yourself separate from God, this is what they translated. If you say I am separate from Ishvara, Ishvara says shabash, very good. That's exactly what I want you to think. We are separate. We are never going to be one. And I am going to bless you to go to heaven and lead an immortal life there. This is some people's interpretation. Yeah, this is like a Christianity within the Hindu. Yeah, this is really what it is. And how they got that is because they are looking only at the bottom. The placement of the words is such that if you just look at the bottom line, that explanation might even be tenable, but that means you're not looking at the former line, which is Brahmyate, from Brahm to roam, lost, to roam around deluded. So Prithagatmanam matva Brahmyate, correct? Yeah, in seeing oneself as separate, one is lost. That is how you have to take it. Because otherwise the verb lost doesn't make any sense. Why is the swan lost? It doesn't say that lost has to go with the second line. So seeing oneself as lost and seeing oneself as separate from the whole, one grieves. And that is the jiva's lot. The first three-fourths of this shloka talk about the lot of the jiva. Then what happens? How is the home coming back here? Jushtaha. Jushtaha means gaining the grace, And the grace is not something that is dispensed in the form of some fine powder from above. That is not what it is. Oh, you have been good, you are going to get some stardust. And you have been bad and you are going to, be punished. No. The grace is self-generated in the sense of tapped into one's own previous karmas. That is the grace. Tapping into the source of one's own previous karma. And then the grace also, we say there are many, many kinds, First is that there is the grace of Bhagavan, which is one's own karma. Deva Anugraha, we say God's grace, which is one's own good karma from the past, which leads one to question, to want this freedom, to want this knowledge, to commit oneself to this knowledge. All this is one's own karma, and the more one does this, the more that karma gets fructified, and that is the grace, Bhagavan's grace. Then there is another kind of grace which says, the grace, we say, the grace of the elders / ancestors. Because you see, that it's not accidental that one is born in a certain parentage, to certain parents, to certain family. And the the release, because see, everybody was this swan, this trapped swan. Even the ancestors who did not get this self-knowledge, perhaps, we don't know. We assume they did not. So even they were trapped in a certain sense. They also had their ups and downs in life and everything like that. And if you take the Vedic tradition all the way, and those ancestors are getting reincarnated again and again, and so they are also wanting freedom from that reincarnation. And so if one person in the further down the chain generation pursues the knowledge, they get very happy, because you are doing something they never could have, they never did, they didn't have the wherewithal. Perhaps the proper teacher did not show up, perhaps they were just so busy that this did not happen, perhaps they could not or did not make the time. So they are very happy, because somebody from their lineage, this is exactly what the Vedas is, somebody from their lineage is pursuing this knowledge, so they get a sense of indirect release. When you are free, in a certain sense, you free them from, I never understood this for a long time, because we have a very close connection with the ancestors. When you eat also, you make a ball of rice and give it to the crows outside, and the crows are seen as they are verbal, and they all come and eat, and they are seen as the ancestors, that they've been sent by the ancestors from the ancestor realm. And so, that I understood. But what I never understood for a long time, it was really something I had to think about, is how if I gain this knowledge, they are free. So that means that you can employ somebody to gain this knowledge. You can go to the movie and have a proxy come to class. Maybe somebody related to you. Don't get ideas. But anyway, so have the proxy come into class. Maybe somebody related to you. Maybe your son, daughter, whoever, brother, sister, whatever. And then you say, take the class and I'll be free. It doesn't work that way, correct? So then how is it that the people who have passed before me, are freed if I get this knowledge, It's very simple, because the karmas get expressed in families. I understood this. The karmas get expressed in families. That's why there are family dysfunctions to overcome. And sometimes the same dysfunction spans many generations. Same grudge is being held over and over and over and over. Since when? Feudal times. We have seen this and in fact this is the subject matter of many Bollywood films. Yeah. Boy meets girl. So what's the problem? They can't get married. Why? Because there is a long-standing feud between the two families. Oh, the parents don't get along? No. Neither did the grandparents, nor the great-great-grandparents, or the great-great-great, going right up to the 14th century. It's like that Romeo and Juliet, same thing. So the star-crossed lovers, This is what the whole thing is. So here, it's like this is what the family dysfunctions that are there because of this self-ignorance. Certain things you carry from the ancestors. And of course, you can't see that because most of them have gone. But you see directly what you have carried from the parents. And sometimes one is shocked, oh my God, I'm behaving just like the father, just like the mother, and you're shocked at yourself, like I'm my own person, why am I behaving like them? And so like this, there is a subtle internalization of the patterns. And those patterns, and also the people who have given up this body, they have a subtle body, they know that they are not free, they have to reincarnate to, do more karmas and everything. So in a sense, when they see their own scion, a leaf from their own tree that is branching out to gain this knowledge, there is a sense of relief and release. This is what it is. So that is on the very, that's on a very subtle level. So they feel free because they feel like, okay, if I am connected to this person and this person is gaining this knowledge, the benefits of that will also help me to settle down and not worry so much, because those same worries in the families reproduce generation after generation, lifetime after lifetime. And then the promise is that if one person renounces the world and becomes a sannyasi, then 7 generations before and 7 generations of the future are released from, difficulties. This again is the same thing, because the person becomes a kind of a role model to the past and the future. So this is just in the, this is of course a matter of belief. So here, that subtle, ancestral connection is very beautiful. So that is called the grace of the ancestors. Meaning they are clapping and feeling very happy because they didn't do what they were supposed to do in this human body, but you have had the bravery to do that. And they are, they are doing everything they can to assist you from the yonder. And and you can take it in literally or figuratively. Literally, if there is a big traffic jam, maybe they have some powers and they clear it so that you can get to class. Or maybe you think that you cannot go because of something and they clear those obstacles away. It's a very nice way of looking at it. So this is what is called the grace of the ancestors. Then, so how many graces? So God's grace and the ancestral grace. And then there is another kind of grace that operates, which is the grace of the gurus and the rishis. The rishis, including Shvetashvatara, who channeled these mantras, they are thrilled because all their work is not going to waste. This is called the grace of the gurus, the grace of the authors of the Veda, not authors, the revealers of the Veda, the rishis who received the mantras and, and gave it to the people. And when they see that their work is also, benefiting people, so they also shower you with grace. Shower you with blessings rather, which is called grace here. And they shower you with blessings to continue to pursue this knowledge. And then finally, that is the third form of grace. Finally, there is the fourth form of grace, which is what? Atma Anugraha. The grace, the permission that I give myself to really commit to this study. There is no more holding back. I tell myself it's okay to let go. It's okay to receive this. It's okay to not fight anymore. It's okay to really bask in this knowledge. It's okay because nothing bad is going to happen to me. In fact, there is nothing to lose and the whole, holds the whole to gain, really. So when I'm able to do that, in a certain sense, I am blessing my own self to be healthy, to be committed to this teaching, and to be, to be in line with the cosmic forces that are already working so hard to bring these teachings to me. And so there is a certain receptivity which is called Atma grace, grace of one's own self. A certain receptivity, a certain relaxedness, a certain allowing, letting go and allowing oneself to commit to this knowledge, the very, very big grace. And so this is what is called Atma Anugraha. Really everything you can say is one's own karma, or the first grace, which was what? We say God's grace, Ishvara's grace. But what are the other three? It's just those same grace chopped up and looked at from various angles. From the realm of the family dysfunctions that one carries and reproduces on a daily basis, you say ancestral grace. From the realm of the connecting to the seers of this knowledge, you call it the Rishi's grace. And from the realm of one's own receptivity, it is called Atma's grace. So these are the 4 kinds of grace that operate over time to bring one to the knowledge. And then the Upanishad says, Jushtaha tataha, and therefore with all these graces working over time, no wonder the knowledge that I am immortal and nothing can happen to me and this knowledge will be gained by me is indeed is indeed there. How can it go wrong? It will definitely happen. This is the promise of the Upanishad. Next one, 7. Udgitametat paramam tu brahma.
Udgitametat paramam tu Brahma.
Tasmin strayam supratishthaksharam cha.
Supratishthaksharam cha.
Atrantaram brahmavido viditva.
Brahmavido viditva.
Leena brahmani tatparayo nimuktaha. Yeah. So, Brahman started to talk, only figuratively, okay? Udgitam, it has been declared. By who? By Brahman. Didn't really talk, as though, okay? As it were, it has been declared by Brahma. What has been declared? That, that it is the imperishable Aksharam. It is the imperishable. And that it is the only thing that is firmly established in everything without undergoing any change. We talked about it last time, 2 kinds of causality. And so this, without undergoing any change, it is firmly established in everything. And this has been understood, and then what? And this has been declared, and then something else is also in this Brahman, or same as Brahman. What is that? The triad. See, it's all very esoteric. And that's why the varying schools of philosophy have a heyday trying to put their own interpretations on it. So, triad here means multiplicity instead of oneness, multiplicity. Same thing when you say duality, here 3 is given because 3 has an abiding number. You have, what do you have? Past, present, future. So in terms of time. Then similarly you have waking, dream, deep sleep. And then you have Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. So like this there is like the abiding presence of 3 in the Shastra. And this 3 here is falsified and told all there is one alone. There is no 3. The triad is also Brahman, and everything is Brahman. So the last thought before sleeping is Brahman is going to sleep. And the first thought upon waking, oh, good morning Brahman, you just woke up. Brahman just had a dream. So like this, there is no separation. This Brahman, without undergoing any change, manifests as the past, manifests as the present, manifests as the future, is the truth of the waker, dreamer and the sleeper, is everything. Unlike pot and clay, it's more like ornament and gold, because the gold doesn't undergo any change. That is what the whole idea is. So Udgitam etat, this has been expressly mentioned. And so therefore, if everything is Brahman, then what do I have to do? Understand this Brahman. How do I have to understand this Brahman? In a very interesting way. It's like a one-way understanding and not the other way. And what is that? In the sense of that everything is Brahman, but Brahman is not any one thing. That is how it is limitless. It's easy to say, body is Brahman, Brahman is body. No, body is Brahman, Brahman is not the body. Mind is Brahman because everything cannot exist without the presence of Brahman. Brahman is not the mind even though it is projected as many minds. It projects itself as many minds, it manifests itself as many minds. So the senses are nothing but Brahman. Without Brahman the senses are senseless, but Brahman is not the senses. And so too, you can go on and on. The doer is Brahman, Brahman is not the doer. The experiencer is Brahman, Brahman is not the experiencer. Because the Sat is all the way Sat, everything is Sat, Sat is not any one thing. How to understand this? So for this we have a metaphor of the actor. Yeah. The same actor, in one play, he is Lord Rama. And what is this Lord Rama? Is not an ordinary, drama. And if you are playing the role of Lord Rama, then everybody comes and falls at your feet. As long as you have the costume on. Yeah. And don't think after the play you can keep the costume. Because the costume company will be saying, we need to iron it and press it for tomorrow's show, take it off. You have only hired it for 2 hours, take it off. So Lord Rama's role, is played by the village blacksmith. That too, the lazy village blacksmith, who doesn't do anything on time. And who all the villagers are, really angry with and upset with. This I have myself seen. So this is in rural, areas, this is how it is. Did you shoe the cow? The shoes for the cow? No, I didn't have time. Did you, fix that stable for the horse? I told you the paddock, some of the nails were coming. No, well, we'll see tomorrow. This is the procrastinating fellow. Doesn't do anything properly. Is also very, attached to the local toddy shop. His children don't like him, his wife is frustrated with him, and he is not a, very, lackadaisical person. Good at heart, but not of much use any other way. And one thing he does very well is acting. Maybe he's in the wrong profession. So when the annual Rama play comes on, every year they do it for 10 days because Ramayana is so big you cannot do it in one day. So 9 nights or 10 nights they have. So he does his part very well and looks very regal. So of course he is cast in this Rama. In the drama he is Rama. Plays his part really well. And the same people who are so mad at him, in the rest of the, 355 days. Why? Because it's a 10-day play, okay? Yeah. So, 10-act, 10-day play. So the 355 days they are so mad at him, but for these 10 days they just love him to pieces. Every night they bring him nice food and clothes and, and the toddy shop also says, okay, you can have this on the house. Yeah. Rest of the time, he owes a big tab there. He's not getting any free things. But these 10 days, everything goes, everything is okay. Even his wife comes around and says, okay, I'll, take good care of you. So like this, he enjoys the hospitality and regal treatment of the entire village. For how? For a mere 10 days. And then after that, what happens? Back to his old drama. He is not Rama, he is the blacksmith, correct? He is the village blacksmith. With regard to how he relates to the village, how they relate to him as the blacksmith. In his own house, he is husband and father and also son, perhaps if his parents are, also living in the same village. And so, every place, with everything, the same man here is performing these various roles. Same person. Here he is playing Lord Rama, here he is, being scolded by the peasants in the village, here he is being a bad husband, here he is being not a very good son either, not very responsible. And so this way, and maybe he is not, maybe he is fond of his children but doesn't really do much to take care of them. So in this sense, he is having so many roles, the same person without undergoing any change. Even if he undergoes change, he is wearing a crown and some nice finery for the Rama's role, that's all. The same person without undergoing any change and having any conflict plays many roles. So who is Rama? Rama is not separate from this person. Who is the blacksmith? The blacksmith is not separate from this person. Who is the husband? The husband is the same person alone. So Rama, blacksmith, husband, father, son. 5 roles. One person. So all these roles cannot exist without the person. All the roles are nothing but the person. But the person is not the role. This is something important to understand. Person is not the role. The person is separate from all the roles. The same person fulfills all these roles, badly or well, doesn't matter. It is just a story. So the same person fulfills all the roles. The roles, the roles are nothing but the person. Because there is no Rama other than this person. There is no blacksmith other than this person. But the person is separate from all the roles. And this is really exactly how Brahman, everything is Brahman, but Brahman is not any one thing. And if we understand this, in our own lives, there is a greater sanity and better relationships. That I am not the role. Role is me, but I am not any of the roles. Because otherwise there is, when the difficulties come, one has to understand that the difficulties don't belong to the person. They belong to the role. When we allow the difficulties to roll into the person, that's not a very pretty scenario. That is where the sadness and the fear starts to catch. So the role and the person are different. And so who is the person? Brahman. Person is Brahman. That's why no role, all the roles roll off like water off the back of the buffalo. None of the roles attach to me, which is Brahman. None of the roles can affect me. None of the roles can touch me. The problem belongs to the role, and that can be sorted out or not, doesn't matter. But the person is not afflicted by any number of the roles he or she might be playing. This is what it is. It is very beautiful. So, Udgitam etat. This has been expressly declared. Udgitam means sung. Brahman is not just talking but clearing the throat, its throat and singing. So this has been expressly declared, chanted, where? In the Upanishads. What? That all this whole triad of the past, present, future, it has been declared in the Veda that all this is Brahman alone, but Brahman is not any one of them. Atra means here, third line. Antaram Brahmavidaha viditva. Brahmavidaha means the ones who know Brahman know this secret. Antaram means that which remains deep within and never comes out. Antara means that which is, that is why we say Guha Nihitam, Brahman sitting in a cave. What is this cave? The buddhi, one's own intellect is the cave. So why is it called the cave? Because there are bats of doubt flapping around, responding to the sonar waves of wrong understanding. And bats only come out at night. So in the vast, ignorant, what should I say, landscape, spurred by the sonar, wrong messages of wrong understanding, the bats of doubt, terrorize the mind. And that mind, with all kinds of bats of doubt, cobwebs of raga and dvesha, stalactites and stalagmites of samskaras, because they are there for a long time, there is no understanding that can take place. That understanding here is very important. So this is why it is called antaram, means in the intellect, in the recesses of the mind, where this Brahman needs to shine, to remove the misunderstanding that I am as good as this body, mind, sense complex and my little miserable life. And that's all I am. I am the sum total of everything that is happening to me. No. Search for some space. Shine the light of the Vedas and shine the light of this song of Brahman, so that, everything just settles down. And so the mind or the intellect is not such a scary place. When the light is shined, it responds and sees that what it was seeking is right there. Because everything is Brahman. The Bhagavan, the Ishvara that it was seeking is right there. It doesn't have to go anywhere. And so, antaram viditva, knowing this secret, which is really oneself. So all that the knowledge does is dispel the ignorance. It is not trying to drill some knowledge into you. It's dispelling the ignorance by shining the light of the Vedas into the mind, besotted by wrong understanding. It's dispelling the ignorance. And in dispelling this ignorance, I understand all the roles are me, but I am not any one of them. And who is that? Brahmavid. Brahmavid means what? One who is with Brahman. In Sanskrit, Brahmavid means Vetti iti, with, the one who knows Brahman as oneself, not as someone separate. Yeah, that's why I said with Brahman. So the one who is not without Brahman, the one who is not without the knowledge of Brahman, the one who is with the knowledge of Brahman, Brahma viditva, what happens? Leena Brahmani. Leena means, when you know Brahman, see, like it's unlike an orange, which is an object. The subject, using the means of knowledge called the eyes and the sense of touch, perhaps if I scratch the skin and smell it, it will have a distinctive smell because there are some oils on the surface. So the subject is using the sense organs such as the eyes, the touch and the smell to objectify this fruit known as orange, right? So this is the subject-object difference. So, you can never say I am orange. You can say I wear orange, but you can never say I am orange, right? So when you know Brahman, you don't know it as an external object which is grasped by the help of the senses. Because that is not how you know this Brahman. You know it as what? If you don't know it as an object, how do you know it? As the truth of the very subject. Yeah. So therefore, the knower of Brahman is non-separate from Brahman. He is the same. So here, the knower of Brahman, there is no of here. The knower is Brahman. So Leena Brahmani means being non-separate from Brahman and knowing that one is Brahman. Leena means here merged, but here there was no submerging. There is no submerging because there was no separation to begin with. The separation was as though in the form of ignorance. So dispelling the ignorance, one is one with Brahman. Tatparaha. Tatparaha means the ones who really are devoted to this and who want to know this. What happens? They become yoni muktaha. Yoni means birth canal. Free of the journey from womb to tomb, to womb to tomb, tomb to womb, then womb to tomb, then tomb to womb. This journey they become free of. They become free of needing to die several deaths, needing to be born again and again, because this primal purpose of the human birth has not been understood. They become free of that. This is what is also called Phala means the fruit of this knowledge. What happens when you gain this knowledge is that there is freedom while living, and even after dropping this body, there is no reason to keep coming back and start saying A for apple, B for bat, C for cat, kindergarten, the whole thing, and the sadness and the sorrow. Oh, then I'm going to disappear. There is no disappearance because there was no appearance. Before you were born, you were Brahman. Now that you are in this body, you are Brahman. After this body drops, you are still Brahman. That's all it is. So therefore, this is Linaha tataha tatparaha yoni muktaha bhavanti. Let us see. And the 8th verse is also very important. संयुक्तमेतत्
संयुक्तमेतत्
क्षरमक्षरं च
क्षरमक्षरं च
व्यक्ताव्यक्तं
व्यक्ताव्यक्तं
भरते विश्वमीशः
भरते विश्वमीशः
अनीशश्चात्मा
अनीशश्चात्मा
बध्यते भोक्तृभावात्
हर्यते भोक्तृभावात्
ज्ञात्वा देवं
ज्ञात्वा देवं
मुच्यते सर्वपाशैः
मुच्यते सर्वपाशैः.
So then the question then will arise, what is the problem over here? Why is it that in order to be free of birth and death, I have to know this Brahman, then why is it such a big deal? Why am I not knowing this Brahman as myself? What's the big deal in this? Why is it so difficult? Why is it so hard? In other words, how many classes is he going to take? How many classes, how many Upanishads, how many months, how many years? Can somebody give me a number on this, please? The next verse says, the reason, let us look at the reason why you think it is taking so long. The reason for the bondage is identifying with the enjoyer, so to speak. Yeah. Is identifying with oneself as the doer and oneself as the quote-unquote enjoyer. So if I'm the enjoyer, how come I'm not enjoying anything in the life? You're just trying to be positive about it. Let's just say experience. So these two-pronged identifications, even more than identifying with the body-mind sense complex, create a kind of a curved ball, like put the whole mind in the spin so as it keeps identifying with the wrong things. And that's why one keeps studying and studying and studying and studying without recognizing what is the real problem. And the real problem is done beautifully, Badhyate. Badhyate means is bound. Bhoktru bhavat is by the identification that I am the victim of circumstances. That is what bhokta is. The why me raga, There are many ragas in the Indian melody, Here raga is not ragadvesha. There are all these melodies. And the why me melody is the most powerful of all. Yeah. Sometimes it's like a whisper. Sometimes it is cacophonic. It's very loud. Sometimes it is unharmonious. And sometimes when many people are singing this raga together, it becomes kind of harmonious. You have a why me choir. And you say, oh, how nice. That's what is called a support group. And why don't we meet every week? So this is the victimization. It's very beautiful. It pinpoints not even to the doership. You have to bring that in by extension. Because the doer and the experiencer, they are twins. They come in pairs. But here this whole sense of victimization, seeing oneself as powerless, is the cause of sorrow. And that is going to be discussed next time. We will see in detail. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Any questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just sort of a question.
Yeah.
So I've spent a lot of time recently with family and with friends, and I find that it's not that I go into a judgment state, it's that I don't seem to share any of the interests. I mean, at such a level that it's at some level it's disturbing to me because there's a part of my mind that wants to look at that as a loss. But it isn't a loss because it's just trivialities that just keep on repeating. It's like watching a continuous commercial.
Yeah.
Is that?
It makes a lot of sense. What you say is correct.
So then what happens?
Well, right now you're in a place of transition. And the transition may not be, the word transition can be misleading because you think it's transition means I'm moving and the past has, I'm going somewhere and I'm not there yet. And so then, one gets to asking the question, are we there yet? Are we there yet? So in that sense, it's a misleading term because the transition here can take a few months or a years or whatever it is, let it take that. The truth is that if you are interested in this knowledge, nothing else will suffice because you are Brahman. And it was a nice roll of the eyes. So you are Brahman and that's all that you are, whether you didn't, you can't run away from it. Where will you go? Wherever you go is Brahman,
Well, where's my compassion going to kick in?
That was see, you already know the problem and the solution. So right now you're in transition. So you are just like, what? You're still here, come on, And so in a while what will happen is you will slowly cultivate that and learn to just let them be. And not judge yourself or others for being however they are, wherever they are. And what Bhagavan Krishna says is that Udara Sarva Evate means they are all exalted. See, Bhagavan only can say that. They are all exalted. And in other place he says, Na buddhi bhedam janayet ajnaninam karma sanginam. So it means the people who don't know this and who are therefore just completely wanting to continue doing karma all the time and these trivialities that you mentioned, let them be there. Don't try to say, I'm better than you, or you should also be doing this. No, if you can bring them along, well and good. But if you can't, it's okay. They can stay at home. They can stay wherever they are. You can always find wonderful, common, non-controversial things other than religion, politics and Vedanta to discuss. You can say, how would you like your tea? You take sugar. How would you like your coffee? Do you take milk? Oh, isn't the weather nice? So we talk of things, doesn't mean you love them less. There is no loss, there is only gain because the gain is in being able to love people no matter what. Yeah, that is a big gain because there is great spiritual growth for you in that. So it's a win-win situation. They are happy with you because you are not arguing anymore, you don't have any, they say, where shall we go to dinner? Oh, anywhere you like. And so they find you completely pleasant and personable and you are happy because that's not what you are interested in and you are happy because you are gaining, in terms of your own growth. So it's a win-win situation. Enjoy.
No, they want to.
What do they want to do?
Well, there are patterns that have been established in the past.
Yeah, it's not always easy to go against the dysfunctional pattern, but that's why perhaps that whole ancestral grace we talked about. Perhaps your ancestors were eager that you should get this message today, that it is okay. to break the patterns without making a big noise. Patterns are broken silently, not like the bull in the china shop. There are, it's not like clutter and, banging noises all the time. No, it's a very quiet way of just, it's okay to have healthy boundaries. It's okay to slip out of situations which no longer serve you, because they are going to be okay. Even though it looks like their world is falling apart, it's not. It's not. Trust me, it's not. And everything that I'm telling you, I myself have gone through, so I know. Yeah, it's not. Everybody is going to be just fine.
And so I still want to continue this engagement. I mean, I'm still, doing these things.
Which things?
I'm planning more visits.
Yeah, it will continue for a while, because there is a little freak out happening. Like, oh my God, am I really useless in society? You're not. You're not. So you're in transition. It will settle down. Just be kind to yourself. Give yourself many hugs a day. You'll settle down. Nothing to worry. You're so fine. You're okay. More than okay. This is exactly how it should proceed. Because, Vedanta and business as usual don't cut along. It's not possible. Because the Vedanta is that which removes all compartments. And if you say, I have a little place for Vedanta, and it is between 6 and 7 on Tuesday evening, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Because it's penetrating your whole life. It's making you into a person that you already are. It's bringing out the compassion. It's bringing out the self-sufficiency. It's bringing out the independence. It's bringing out the fearlessness. It's bringing one out of the depression and the dejection one thought one always had to live with. And this is a big deal. So one has to be gentle with oneself. It's removing all compartments. So how can you compartmentalize it? It's not possible. So therefore it is, it's okay. Let it take its time. Yeah. And the mind will flip, because it wants to be in control. It likes to be in the past. It's afraid of what is to come. It's okay. Let it flip. It will do a few somersaults. It will also settle down. Namaha. Yeah. Oh.